Hello, everyone, and welcome back to yet another political episode. So, as we know, Election Day. Today, as I'm filming it, is Friday. Election Day is just around the corner. It is very, like I said, very suspenseful. And Republicans in Minnesota are feeling so far optimistic. Many, um, Johnson has appeared on multiple sources, shows saying that that he feels optimistic, um, feeling that that the Republican Party can pull this off. And what this means here, and the DFL should be pretty concerned. First off, according to the source here, we have the top three candidates who are doing the best job. And that's, once again, this is in all of Minnesota. Number one is Jim Schultz. Jim Schultz has seized a 7-point lead against his opponent, Keith Ellison. And why? Well, once again, we got to expect he is endorsed by the populist Bernie Sanders. And it's very important not to be endorsed by those sort of people. It can't be endorsed by, and best not to be endorsed by a populist. Reasons? Populism is radicalism. So basically, Keith Ellison being endorsed by Bernie Sanders is making him look like a radical. And he has been sort of radical in his terms, in his first term in office here as Attorney General. And then Scott Jensen was endorsed by Donald Trump. And guess what he did? Jensen, in response, slammed Trump, which was, I would say that was a good move. Why? Because, first of all, once again, Trump is pretty controversial. Some say he's a populist too. Once again, populist, you need to, once again, stay away from that sort of deal. Once again, if you endorse people that, then once again, that could have affected, seeing that Minnesota is a very sensitive state with lots of sensitive views. Jensen is doing really good, and he's ultimately putting his central ground. It's being painted as a centrist in Minnesota. However, Donald Trump, although he was trying to help, endorsed Jensen. This could only hurt his campaign. For the supporters that don't really like Trump, they could turn against him. Once again, this is pretty smart. In my great opinion, this was a smart thing for Jensen to do. Well, when you're in office, sure, you can hang out with Trump and say good things about Trump. That's when you are in office. But when you are trying to get into office, you want to stay away from let's just stay away from the controversial stuff as far as possible. So, so far, Republicans are optimistic. Republicans are favored in Minnesota. And there has not been much videos about Minnesota. Republicans here in Minnesota are also kind of frustrated because New York's receiving all the attention because ultimately Republicans have seized the lead in New York, and they're like, New York? Why? What about us? We have a bigger lead here in Minnesota. So the Republicans in Minnesota are kind of frustrated with the Republicans in New York, kind of seizing all the glory. But it's not all about that. Let's take a look at the prediction. Now, going back a couple months, I projected a Walz victory. Now I'm changing this to a Jensen victory. Reasons? Well, obviously, Jensen has more momentum, more passion, more inspiration. The city of Rochester has polled that our Republicans are leading in the city of Rochester, which it used to be a blue Democrat stronghold, historically a Republican stronghold, if I should mention. So lots of things is happening. So let's see here. The state of Minnesota. And first off, we're going to go over the states that the counties that voted for Trump, because it is very if they voted for Trump, they're probably going to vote for Jensen, because Trump being more further to the right and Jensen being more leaning right, I don't see why the Trump counties can't vote for Jensen, not Walz. And Walz ultimately is receiving a lot of backlash from the administration. Jensen is claimed to have won multiple debates against the governor, which the GOP, Minnesota GOP, has projected Scott Jensen the winner of these debates. Of course, as election day is progressing, more further it goes to, more further it comes, the more intense it gets. So here is a status quo. Well, no, this is technically a Democrat victory, but this is for the governor race. I do think Scott Jensen will win. Olmsted, Winona. I do think Lake County, Carlton, and Blue Earth. So this is my prediction here. Well, Jensen is to carry a total of 82 counties in Minnesota, while Walz carries 5 counties. This would be I would believe, a 50% for Jensen and a 48% for Walz. Not bad for Walz. Dakota County used to be a swing county. However, it overperformed in 2020 when they voted for Biden by over 11 points, which is kind of big, that's not even a leaning Democrat. So that's why I'm kind of putting Dakota County. Although Dakota County could be one, it has voted Republican, and could have been one. Keith Ellison almost lost Dakota County in 2018, but won. Now this is my gubernatorial. Ultimately, now let's take a look at the Secretary of State. Ultimately, I'm predicting that Simon could win this. And I forgot to tell you again, I did mention to Jim Schultz as the number 1 victor. Number 1 claiming the front race. Number 2 is Ryan Wilson. Wilson is at a 5-point lead against his opponent, Julia Blaha. It is reported that Julia Blaha is doing the poorest in the election. She is in last place. And then third place is Steve Simon. She is the top Democrat, is the top DFLer that is doing the best in Minnesota, and he's in third place. Walz is not even on the top 3. So not even Jensen, although Jensen is ahead of Walz and when it comes to doing good in the campaign. But the top 3 candidates that are nailing it in Minnesota is Jim Schultz, Ryan Wilson, and Steve Simon. So I do think Democrats, DFL I do think they've caught Kim Crockett and laid lots of traps for Kim Crockett for a long time. They have caught her, put her into multiple traps. They have accused her for election denial in 2020. No, not going to say if this is true or not. This is obviously, they have ultimately made her a controversial person. Although being the only woman facing woman in this election, it will be a close election for the Secretary of State. Ultimately, Crockett has a lot of supporters, but she is the one that is struggling the most when it comes to Republican faction. So, as of right now, I am projecting a Simon victory and what that will look like. So the thing about Olmsted, you're going to be, because Republicans are surging, and a lot of us are focusing on Olmsted County because Olmsted County is a very popular county, has a lot of people, and in order to win, you got to get Olmsted County. That will really help your election. So a lot of us, most votes in Olmsted County, having the city of Rochester over 100,000 people, it can be won. So Olmsted County, there's a status quo. I believe, I think Democrats will carry Winona. I think Simon would lead by probably 2. I'm going to give Blue Earth to Simon. This area will go Republican. Clay, I'll give Washington County to Simon too. So, oh yeah, and these. Like the Iron Range for sure. Republicans are doing good. Cook County has a 60% Democrat lead, so that's controversial. Carleton County, it has made a flip in recent years. And I'm trying to think about Olmsted. So yeah, once again, this is a very close election. Olmsted County, we are seeing a lot of Republican movement in Olmsted County. Some even say Olmsted County could go back to the Republican Party. I have a hard time believing that because Olmsted County has voted 10 points for Biden, or within the 5-point margin. So this is kind of controversial in my opinion with the Secretary of State election, what it's going to look like. Ultimately, Olmsted County, we'll see how you do on Tuesday. State Auditor, I do think Republicans will nail it. First off, Wilson probably carry, I think Wilson will carry Dakota County, honestly. Dakota County, Juliette Blaha, I'm starting to think, maybe Blaha is probably going to struggle in Cook County, it looks like. St. Louis County could potentially go red. So it's not saying it is going red at all, but I do think here, yes, this is my state auditor results. Not that different from the gubernatorial election. This is probably what it's going to look like. Well, this is my prediction. And then finally, the state auditor, the one that Republicans are seeming to do the best in. And with 7-point lead, I do think Republicans will carry every county except for Hennepin and Ramsey, mainly because of crime. Now, what about Hennepin and Ramsey County, the counties with the top crime numbers? Well, although you cannot win Hennepin and Ramsey, I highly doubt Hennepin and Ramsey County is going to vote for for Schultz. Although they may get some more votes than usual, or something like that. It all depends on how much people you win in the county. Ultimately, you do not need to win Olmsted, Hennepin, Dakota, although it will really help further your margin. You need to get as much as people you can in each county, even Democrat counties also. So, yes, I do think Schultz, I know, will win, for sure. I think it's safe to say Schultz will win. Definitely. Because Keith Ellison, not popular at all. People are done. Blue areas like Rochester are sick of him. Let's get a new guy. That's how done they are with them. It's like, setting out a totally bad president, having him run, you have him win by smallest of margins. It's very unrealistic, although it's happened in presidential elections. So what's your take on this? Ultimately, this is my last look on Minnesota. This is my last prediction. Ultimately, I'm going to reward myself with something, and I will let you know what I'm going to do to treat myself. And the bigger it is, the bigger I'll get. So if I'm right about the attorney general, I'm probably going to treat myself to one thing. Okay, like I'm talking about the same results, like Hennepin, Ramsey, all red. Okay, that is what I'm going to do. If I'm right, if I'm right about the state auditor, Secretary of State, gubernatorial. If I'm right on everything, oh yeah, I'm going to do something pretty big. I'll let you know what that is. So the more I'm right, the more I'm going to treat myself, and the less I'm right, I'm not right at all, I won't do it. So yeah, something a little fun. If I look at it, and it's something a little fun if it's ultimately am I right about is my predictions right? More than is your guy gonna win? Hopefully, you guy win. Ultimately, I really enjoy the fun of just predicting. So what do you guys think? Will Kim Crockett follow her Republican friends, neighbors to victory, or will Steve Simon drag her into the loser corner, and Simon taking Crockett's place and running to the winner's field? So this is it, and thank you all for watching, and we are ultimately counting down the days to election day, and I'll see you in the next episode.